Ever since I was a child, I always felt so attracted by everything that could be considered horror. The sheer implausibility of what happened on screen always drove me deeper in the story, so I could answer incredible philosophical questions such as why there are monsters and zombies in this space station, why am I a vampire cowboy fighting eldritch demons, or just what the hell is going on?
I'm the fucking universe!
To the point where besides the occasional Call of Duty and Battlefield, I really didn't play anything else. Which, with backside, I can safely say that this love laid off the way for another big passion of mine, urban exploration. And I guess that I absolutely love it for the same reason: you never know what you find. Sometimes it is the sight of a lifetime, a perfectly preserved masterpiece, or more often than I like to admit, an empty husk of where it used to be. Lucky everyone, in these days, between a disease and another, I've been somewhat lucky. And I perhaps found one is one of the best games that I ever had the pleasure to play. And what I'm speaking about is an unknown little gem called Them and Us. So, now that the intro is completed, you have sort of an idea of what I'm going to speak about. Let's see why Them and Us is an amazing survival horror.
In the instant you open the game, a pretty stylish cutscene plays out, which serves as prologue for the story, and after it, you're dumped in the main menu. And I honestly don't know or understand why it doesn't play after you start the story, since there is a high chance of someone skipping it by thinking it was just another company logo or something. And trust me that I don't say that because it happened to me. Anyway, the cutscene introduces our protagonist, Alicia Wallace, and the key points leading to the start of the story: the sudden disappearance of her daughter, Alicia's arrest after she got framed for the vanishing, visions regarding the child being alive and kept by a cult, and to top it all, a jail transfer gone terribly wrong due to wacky stuff.
You see, Damer? That's how you start a story. I mean, in like 2 minutes, we already know what brought Alicia here and why she will go through what you're about to see, while also hinting at a supernatural force behind everything. And all of this without having 25 characters in the first 30 seconds of the game talking about random stuff. Now, after the cutscene, the game begins right after the accident. That is, of course, if it wasn't for the whole main menu debauchery, but at least I can use it as an excuse to introduce what perhaps is one of the best features I ever found in a game. With that being the choice between playing with fixed camera angle, over the shoulder, or in first person. And I truly cannot stress enough how much effort this required, but let me also underline something else. It was well worth it. First of all, you're making your game more accessible since it doesn't only appeal to one niche. And second is the immense replayability, which is sort of a requirement for Them and Us. But let's take things more slowly. Kinda like this game. Kinda like in this game.
After the accident, you wake up in the middle of the road. Alicia is terribly hurt, almost on the brink of death, but despite the copious amount of cars, there isn't a single person inside that can help. And so, after walking as far as possible while seeking aid, she collapses on the ground. Not much later, Alicia awakens, but not inside a white-cold hospital room, but instead in what appears to be a humble broom closet in Mr. Beast's house.
A great yet simple prologue that leaves us with many questions. Who brought her inside Mr. Beast's house? Why there were zombies or something on the jail bus? And most importantly, and I should specify that I love this doubt because it's born by the recent popularization of Silent Hill and Cry of Fear, is Alicia truly inside what appeared to be an old-ass mansion, or is this an hallucination induced by the adrenaline released by her brain in its last minutes of life? Well, I honestly don't know, since this game has like 5 endings and I got the neutral one. But anyway, after Alicia gets out from the broom closet, the first section of the game begins: the mansion. This part of the game can be resumed as fucking awesome, bro. By taking a lot of inspiration from Resident Evil 1, the mansion is filled with zombies that will chase Alicia down to devour her, and more often than not, scare the shit out of you in the process. Initially armed with only a butter knife and then a Beretta 92, you must drive this incredibly slow-running woman out of this nightmarish place and solve a ton of puzzles while doing so, slowly realizing that perhaps what you're fighting doesn't come from some weird biological process gone wrong, like in this toilet over here, but rather from something ancient and incomprehensible. And if you don't believe me, well, I think that the energy-emitting piece of crack that opened the door is a dead giveaway. Which brings me to talk about what's on the other side of said piece of furniture. Not this one, the one in the game, the garden. This middle and, in some ways, final part of the game can be considered the worst. Whew, it's not bad by any means, but it also isn't as good as the house. And my guess is that it has something to do with making the place as big and labyrinthic as humanly possible. And I'm not definitely saying this because my Surrey has got lost too many times to count, but hey, at least it isn't Damer 1994, so it's packed full of stuff to see and take, starting from 3 new weapons.
An absolute beast of a pump-action shotgun, which unlike many other guns in this game actually work as a machine gun that I never used, because in my experience, when you see a percentage, it can only mean that it's a one-use weapon, and so I was scared to lose it. And for last, a bolt gun, but I will keep this for later. Also, beautiful timing since the game now introduces like 5 new enemies, 4 of which are bullet sponges that will hit at least 30 bullets, or if you're lucky, just 1 to the head. And I know that it's a problem that I already complained about in my Damer video, but whereas in that game this random damage outburst combined with an otherwise extremely weak gun made combat more tedious and in a way harder due to the realistic mechanics, here it causes the opposite problem.
Inside the house, the one-shotting power isn't felt that much due to the confined nature of the environments that make landing a headshot pretty hard, which also works extremely well with the tankiness of the zombies, making every encounter a matter of life or death, especially when you're only equipped with a butter knife and the handgun that was supposed to be in Alec Baldwin's hand. Anyway, the result is this beautiful feeling of anxiety created by the sheer power of your enemies when compared to what you have to defend yourself. A feeling that modern gaming is too often failing to achieve, with the only example being Resident Evil 2 Remake, Amnesia, and, well, that's it. With the key difference that in the latter, you're anxious because you're virtually powerless. In Them and Us, you are scared because the enemies are magistrally utilized. That is, in the first half of the game.
Unfortunately, in the garden, the gloomy, confined environments are replaced by a big-ass labyrinth where you can easily outrun or snipe them down. Or both, and I get that the developer wanted to do a change of pace by giving the player a lot of guns and enemies to have some fun with, but it really didn't work, and mainly for 2 reasons.
The massive nature of the garden makes moving around extremely time-spending and tedious, which isn't really a problem when the environments are beautiful to look at, and here they are for sure. But it kinda starts to become it when it is the 3rd time that I slowly see them because I don't know where to go. And being clueless about what to do was also a problem present inside the house, but mitigated by how the gameplay and environments were structured. You stumble around, find a key, know exactly what to do and where to go next. While outside these, you stumble around, find some whack-ass object, and then proceed to explore every square centimeter of this Texas-sized garden to understand where to use it. And the second problem is that we are given the most broken weapon in the game, the bolt gun.
And truly, I don't know how to introduce this, but few times in my life I have witnessed something so broken, and what makes it incredibly OP isn't a bug nor the one-shot power, since it has none, but instead the incomprehensibly fast rate of fire and sheer availability of its ammo. For every pickup you take like 15 arrows and can store as much as you want without taking space in the inventory, since it has an interdimensional magazine of a limited size capable of comfortably hosting as many arrows as you want, making those few close quarter fights a joke, somehow managing to make this garden part nothing more than a repetitive walk where I just had to press mouse 1 while trying to figure out what to do.
But credit where it's due, besides these very big problems, the game still managed to keep me glued to the screen until the very end. And what makes this last part more than enjoyable, almost very good, is the story taking some unexpected turns that I won't mention. Okay, I won't mention one. There is a second playable character in the story, but that's it. I won't spoil anything else, because Them and Us is a gem, and it truly deserves to be enjoyed from start to finish, simply due to it being one kind of occasion where a love letter does not only pay an homage to a genre franchise, but also manages to set an example for everyone to follow by creating a unique piece of entertainment with lots of replayability. So, would you do me a favor? Yeah, and just play the fucking thing, okay? From Apoleado was now everything. And please, folks, have a nice September. Do it for me. See ya in the next video, probably in 72 months.